Welcome back to another episode of Truth Podcast, where we keep it $100. You can find us every Wednesday night from 9:30 to 10:30 on Podcastic and Truth Podcast via Facebook and YouTube. Before we get started, I want to make a statement. Truth Podcast is getting ready to pivot. Maybe not so much pivot, but get back to who we are, right? We are going to discuss topics that are not widely discussed. We're going to discuss topics that may be controversial, that a lot of people aren't touching. When we first established Truth Podcast a few years ago, the goal was to inform, educate, encourage, uplift, and potentially help people, right? And we're going to get back to that. Our goal is to do that, and we're going to make some changes. So you probably have already noticed a few already. So we're going to be adding new co-hosts that align with our vision, and we're going to move with purpose and on purpose. With that being said, Tat, how your week been? And tell us who you have sitting next to you tonight.
Hey, best friend.
Hey.
So, I love my best friend. And actually, I'm going to get up into my guest, and my guest is the one who introduced me to my best friend. I'm thankful. My week's been good. I have been more and more in control of protecting my peace and worrying about me a little more. You already know, because you always got something to say, she do too, of how I worry about others. I know that's just naturally how I am, but lately I have been stepping back and saying, what do Tat want to do first? You know what I'm saying? I wake up and say, hey, what about Tat? I did get the flu shot, which I never get, right? And that...
down.
I was down. And thank you every day, Mac and Chisa. Thank y'all. They was, you okay? You good? Whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'm just in here sweating things out and detoxing. So thanks for checking on me. But my week was peaceful. And so... I have a very special guest. Well, actually, all our guests are special. So my guest tonight is my sister / baby mama, Shauna Bell. Mrs. Bell is in the house with us tonight.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Shauna.
Hey, so how was your week?
My week was a bit more hectic. I had 3 sick kids at one time.
I should have came over there so you could take care of me too.
Hey, you could have made it.
Yeah. Come closer to you.
No. You got it? Okay. Yeah, so my guest, Shauna Harris Bell, is going to be speaking tonight on our topic. And I want Mac to introduce our other guests, because we're going to also bring in a topic after that. And then let you all know what they're speaking from their experience.
So my week has been busy.
Yes.
So I'm trying to figure out for real, because I'm on break from school till January, right?
Uh-oh.
But
Plan
my
good.
days are like still super fucking busy. So I'm trying to figure out, when did I have time for school?
You made time. No, I give that to you.
Or am I just finding other things to do since
No,
I don't have classes?
When I say Mac made the time for school, it was this day and that day is my studying. That's it. And we'll put on Do Not Disturb, and I'll be trying to call like, oh, you studying. But you made the time.
Listen.
You did.
I voted early today.
Yay!
I hope you all go out and vote.
You voted for me?
I voted for the candidate of my choice. I don't want to have no political problems and arguments today. And I have some special guests sitting to my right.
Yes.
My friend Angie. We go way back, like years. And sitting to her right is her son Xavier.
Yay!
And he is the expert.
That's right.
On our topic tonight.
That's right.
How y'all week been?
It's been different.
Different?
Yeah, I had to actually go back into the office.
Physically?
At
a desk?
At a desk.
Oh.
I've been at home for 4 years, and they're like, oh, you got to come in 2 days one week and 3 days the next week. So it's been
COVID had us spoiled, didn't it?
Trying. Back into the office. But other than that, it's been pretty good.
How your week been, Zay?
It's been all right. Recently I just been sick. Again.
Sick? Oh.
After over a month ago, I had sinuses. But I'm better now.
You better now? Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's right. I'm
So
glad
y'all, tonight we are talking about autism. the spectrum. Not a disability, but a different ability.
That's right.
And so in our research, I came up, I have all these notes and I have all these stats, and I really just don't want to do that, right? We have 3 people who are experts in this, and they can probably tell me everything that I wrote down, right? So we want to define what autism is, and we want to talk about what is it, and what are the implications, what are the impacts, what are the effects of autism. Angie, Xavier, you're how old? 24?
24, yes.
So Angie has 24 years of experience. I think that's more than mine, more than anybody at this table.
Yes.
So I think she can define it better than a dictionary. What is the spectrum?
The spectrum, first of all, it's wide. It's not a one-stop shop type of thing. The spectrum is very, very wide. It start like at the low end, non-communicative, non-verbal, unable to be potty trained, for example, and things like that. That's that's a really severe part.
Okay.
Then there's the opposite end, where there's high functioning autism.
Okay.
Where they can do everything we can do. They may look at things differently. They see things differently. They comprehend things differently. And sometimes they can't articulate what they need, what they're feeling.
Yes.
When there's a problem.
So
Their
it's not
brain, it's kind of like the light is on and the light gets dim and the light gets right back again. That's the layman's terms that I can explain it.
Okay. So basically, their brain works differently because it's
yes.
structured differently.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Yes.
And it doesn't mean because they learn differently, right, that they cannot learn.
Correct.
Yeah.
You have to find, just like with any other child, you got to find out how they learn.
How they learn.
Yes, you have to find out how they learn. So, like, in the educators, their job is to find out with all 30 kids in their class, they need to find out how each kid learns.
That's right.
So it's how they learn.
I totally agree.
Xavier,
Yes.
what is the best way that you learn? What is your best way of learning?
The best way I learned. Oh, yes. Well, one of the things I hear it from other people. That's how I learn.
You learn from listening?
Yeah, and reading about stuff, looking up stuff.
Okay.
That's what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, Xavier.
Yes.
And I know that you are. Are you great at reciting things, like taking in things and memorizing it very well?
Yeah.
I know you are. I know you are. You're brilliant. You gotta show me how to do that. You're welcome.
Xavier, you graduated high school, right?
Yeah, back in 2018.
He said back in 20.
Okay.
He like, look, I'm an old
Put
buck
some respect
now.
on it.
I ain't no young buck
Okay.
no more.
That's right.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
When did you become aware of your difference?
Perhaps a long time ago, like years back, many years back.
What made you aware? How did you become aware? Or if you want to help out.
I want to interject just
Absolutely.
because I never told him
Okay.
that he was on the spectrum.
That's right.
Because I didn't want him to use that as a crutch and say,
I can't.
I have autism, so I can't do that. So I didn't tell him he was on the spectrum until he was like 16. Because I didn't, like I said, I didn't want that to be used as a crutch.
That's right.
And whenever he would say, is there something wrong with me? I would say, no, there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
I would tell him, God made us all different. Everybody learns differently.
That's
That's
powerful.
right. I love you
That's
for that.
powerful.
Yes.
So, Xavier, once she told you, did it all make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Ted,
Yes.
So there are things that predispose
Right.
people, right, to autism.
Yeah.
Right. What are some of the quote unquote risk factors?
Thank you.
That are associated that people can look for or probably anticipate, right?
Okay. And I like how you said quote unquote, thank you for doing that, because it is all still research, and researchers are still learning as well. Okay. So they had narrowed it down to a few, and they had this main three, which is a combination. First, they had listed birth weight, like preterm birth. Okay.
Preemies.
Yes, preemies. And I wonder if I'm on the spectrum. I was actually a preemie. I was born a few months early. I was born in May. So I've been born in July. Sex. They say that boys are about 4 times more likely to be on the spectrum than girls. And I have seen that even in the work that I do.
Does anybody know why that is?
No, they are still researching. Family history. It is said that people that have a family of low social or communication, they have low social communication problems, tend to have children that are on the spectrum. Again, this is research, okay? Medications. They show a link for treatment with women that were pregnant, treatment for epilepsy during pregnancy, or early life use of acetaminophen, which is Tylenol. So they're saying that people that had to use a lot of use of Tylenol tend to have children that's on the spectrum. It's research. But out of these, they said the main 3 that they saw were a combination of genetic and environmental factors and older parental age. So what they're saying is if you wait longer, they said for people in their 20s, pretty much like a low rate of having children on the spectrum, as opposed to people in their 40s. Yep. So they said the longer you wait, you can actually have children on the spectrum. Again, this is all research.
Yeah.
My thing is here. God, like you say, and thank you, because God made all of us unique. Me is not a disability. It is another ability, and I say that they're all brilliant. Especially knowing my godson. He's on the spectrum. He's only 6. And we'll talk about him in just a little bit. The children I took care of. I took care of 5 children with autism. And I got to know each and every last one of them for the level that they were on, so that I can communicate with them on who they were and the level that they were on.
Parents.
Yes.
Of these risk factors, did you notice any of those? Were any of those present? Were there a predisposition for anything? Did you of the risk factors that she listed? Genetics, family history, prenatal birth complications, the age of the parent. You're young, so you were young. The child's gender, of course. But were any of those risk factors present in your situations? In hindsight?
In hindsight, yes.
Yes?
The genetic. Only because on his dad's side, there is mental, like serious mental illness. Okay. So that kind of later, I was like, okay, that could be linked to that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think that was that. Yeah. But of course, I really didn't realize that until like a couple years ago. That
started making the connection, like, Okay.
And so, guys, before Shauna answers, let me let you all know what she's here. And Shauna, the reason why I said baby mama earlier is because she is the mother of my godson, Kelsey, which he's on the spectrum. I've always called him amazingly autistic, which you know I means no harm by that. And guys, we did not know that some people will get offended as you saying that they're autistic. So we want to start using more of on the spectrum. So we found that that is like a form of respect of staying on the spectrum. We did not know that. I didn't. I've always called my son amazing autistic. And so, baby mama.
Yeah, that's no problem with me.
That's what my brilliant kid.
But with me, I don't know, because Kelsey dad is 10 years older than me.
Okay, so there is an age gap. So you're younger and he may be the older parent.
Yeah, but also my little brother is autistic on my dad's side.
So you have the family history. You have the older parent.
And I was taking Tylenol while I was pregnant. Only because I was in pain and the doctor told me to take it.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
Fix one thing, create another thing.
They
right?
actually gave me Tylenol when I was having him because I spiked a fever and they made me take Tylenol. So
So there's some validity to these risk factors, right?
yeah.
And when did you notice things when you thought that Kelsey was different or?
Probably like around 6 months.
Yeah.
Kelsey was walking before he even crawled.
Yeah.
And
At 6 months?
Yes.
He was walking at 6
Yes.
He probably couldn't eat. He probably was a bobblehead.
And he was
I'm
walking.
getting it though.
Yeah.
Look, we have videos of him walking and running
That's
from couch to
crazy.
couch. So it's like, okay, you're walking like a little Chucky doll, but you're not crawling. And then it's like certain stuff. I had 2 boys before him, so it's certain things that they did that he didn't do. And then once he got older, it's like, okay, you're still not.
Right. So because all kids are different, right? And so you really can't say this child is not where this child was because everybody develops at their own level, right? But at the same time, you still pay attention to the milestone.
Yeah, and
right?
then, those my kids. So I know, like, as a mother, you just feel like
I
you
feel
do
it.
something wrong.
Angie, I wanted to ask, because I know a lot about my godson. I wanted to ask you because even in the history, the work that I have with a lot of children with autism, I did notice something that seemed to be amongst like more of them. Did Xavier display any type of hearing issue when he was younger?
No, he didn't.
No.
He didn't.
And what about Pica? Did he ever?
I'm familiar with that.
What is that?
Okay. So I noticed, and even in research, pica is a form of like a eating disorder. So most children with autism, and they tend to eat things that have no nutritional value.
Yes.
So he did.
Yeah.
He
Okay.
displayed that.
But
Okay.
it was interesting because when he was, when I started him on like regular food,
Sure.
he would eat chicken wings and he was eating what I cooked, chicken wings, spaghetti, all that. And then it was like overnight, he didn't want any of that anymore. He would only eat. He would only eat Stouffer's mac and cheese.
Really?
I was buying him like 10 at a time because that's all he would
That's
eat
the
for
only
lunch
thing.
and dinner.
No meat, no vegetables, no nothing.
He
That's
would
it?
eat breakfast though. Now I
Yeah.
could cook him breakfast. He would eat that, but after that, Stouffer's mac and cheese and peanut butter and jelly. He ate that until he was like 16.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, they're very picky.
And now,
Yes.
now he will eat anything.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Right.
He
He like,
I need some nutritional shit. Shannon, can you play those 2 clips of the 2 little girls that show early signs, physical signs of being on the spectrum?
and we'll be right back. Please watch these clips.
Yeah, they're invincible, and she just in the background. And she says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. I wish that I could be like the cool kids, like the cool kids. He sees them talking with a big smile, but they haven't got a clue. Yeah, they're living a good life, can see what he is going through. They're driving fast cars, but they don't know where they're going. They're in the fast lane, living life without knowing. And he says, I wish that I could be like the cool kids, 'cause all the cool kids, they seem to fit in.
Early signs of autism in toddlers that are easily overlooked. Toe walking and hand flapping. Always jumping. Spinning in circles. Head shaking. Communicating through hand bleeding. Having certain routines that are repeated daily, like jumping with her teething tablets, restricted and repetitive interests and activities. Madison is obsessed with toothbrushes. She always plays in very repetitive ways. Remember, these signs point to autism due to the frequency and repetitiveness.
I want to ask the parents, did you notice any early signs that may have been displayed here? And if they're not displayed here, what signs did you notice?
All of them.
All of
Everything that was displayed on there.
So that's
Chelsea did.
accurate.
Very accurate.
TikTok is for real.
Yeah.
You saw all of that?
Especially, the toe walk.
The toe walking?
That was it. And then the his like she was doing with the toothbrushes. His was with Hot Wheel cars.
Kelsey too. We bought him.
Now, Donovan had an obsession with Hot Wheel cars.
Like-
He lined them up.
Yes. Yes.
But you know, they called me and they said, like, we need you to bring him down for an evaluation. I said, this boy ain't autistic. Stop playing with me.
A lot of
so
parents
we went
do
down
that.
there and did that test for like 3 hours for them to tell me what the fuck I already knew. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, sir, I already knew that. You know, they told me to come down.
Okay.
But Donovan had obsessive compulsive issues.
Okay.
Right? But they were like, wait a minute. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he needs to be tested for Asperger's. And I'm like, no, ma'am. No, sir. Because as a parent, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, I know this boy, he's okay. He just tripping. But so let me ask y'all, as African American mothers, right? Because we as a culture have not always been open to diagnoses, right? And so now in this day and age what was the diagnosis process like? Was it, first of all, the acknowledgement had to be something, right? It had to have an impact on you, right? So what was it, once you became aware that something was different, and once you got the diagnosis, what impact did that have on you as a parent?
You can go first.
Okay. I was okay because I knew I had an answer.
Okay.
So, now I have an answer. So
Now I
now
know
what do
what
I
to
do
do.
from here? So that was my thing. I wasn't like devastated and all that because I'm like, I know my child. I've watched my child. I know my child. I know something is different. And I need to figure out what it is so I can assist him.
That's right.
I like that you said, I know something is different, not that something is wrong.
That's right.
The language matters,
That's
right?
right.
Yes.
Especially when you're communicating with them.
Yes,
Right?
yes. And that I try to always use my words wisely. So, like if I'm out, I hate to hear people call their kids bad. Even if they are, don't call them bad because they internalize that. And so you call them bad and so they're going to say, okay,
Oh, ain't bad.
And they just continue that behavior. So I try to use different words, more positive words instead of words like that.
Another thing I love what you said earlier is that you say, when he asked me, is something wrong? And no, because it's not.
Right, exactly.
You know, so, and thank you for that. Because like you say, even with the labeling, you know what I'm saying, and telling them something is wrong, whatever, then you already set them in that mold.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you something. My child was diagnosed with ADHD, right? And it's not funny. That's not what I'm laughing at.
I
I'm
know.
laughing at the thought I'm about to share with y'all next.
Right.
When he started getting in trouble, he was like, I got ADHD. He was using it as a fucking excuse, you know, to be disrespectful. I'm like, hey, bro, ADHD, that don't have nothing to do with you being disrespectful and calling people out. No.
I'm going to use it.
You know, and so maybe I should have taken a page out of your book.
Right.
And I told him because he literally tried to use it to his advantage. I said, no, I don't have nothing to do with you fighting, my boy. It don't have nothing to do with you being disrespectful.
I do want to encourage some callers. I see, and thank you everyone that's viewing. As always, we appreciate you all.
Yes, sir.
We do encourage callers, and the number is 810-560-0658. Again, 810-560-0658.
If you have any questions for our parents or even for Xavier, because Xavier is probably the expert at the table.
TheBomb.com.
And he's very articulate, so call and ask him some questions, and hopefully he'll give you some answers. Did you all, before you got the diagnosis, right, And we're going to talk about the diagnosis because you guys dealt with diagnosing
Right.
at different dispensations, right? Like you were 24 years ago with it, and you only 6 years ago with it. The awareness 24 years ago wasn't the same, was
Right.
it?
No.
Talk to us about how that went.
And 24 years ago, they said that causes were immunizations.
Yes, they did.
They kept saying, "Don't get your kids immunized."
Yes, they did.
Before 5 because that cause it. And I bought into it. I was like, after I thought, I was like, well, it was 2. Okay, well, I think he had. I bought into it, and I was like, so now Elijah, he was like, I don't know. Now at that then he was 7, so Elijah was 10. He was like, I don't know about that, Mom. At 10, he's telling me, I don't know if I believe that.
I'm going to pause real quick because I have to talk about Elijah, and we're going to get back to that.
Okay.
Elijah at 10 is like the rest of us at fucking 50.
Right.
Okay? This little boy, young man now, is working on his doctorate degree at Northwestern University and speaks.
Get it, Elijah.
You have to have a dictionary and a thesaurus to have a conversation with him. And so for him to say this at age 10 is not beyond reasonable. But go ahead.
Okay. so then I started researching.
Right.
And I said, okay, that's not it. But I still knew at 2 something is different. Something is not right. Something is
What
not
did you
clicking.
notice that would make you say it's not clicking? What sort of behavioral things, or what sort of, other than the signs you indicated earlier?
The lining up of the cars.
Okay.
And the hand, like they said, the hand, leading with the hand. He wasn't verbal. He would say little bitty words, but he wasn't complete sentences. And I know people say, oh, he was 2. But it's you, as a mother, you know your child.
Yeah, you
You know when something is, when you pay attention to your children, you know something isn't right. So when parents say, well, I didn't notice anything, I hate to say it, but you're not paying attention
Right,
to your
as a
child.
parent.
And stop sitting them in front of that TV.
Yep.
You got to watch them, because when you watch them, you learn their habits.
That's
you
right.
learn the things that they do, and you're like, that doesn't feel right.
Let me ask you a question, both of y'all. Is it that they don't know, or they're not paying attention, or that they're in denial? Because a lot of us, we don't want to, the parents, because we don't want to accept that. Like, I know somebody whose child is visibly on the spectrum.
Yeah.
It is apparent.
Yeah.
Do you hear me? But they don't accept it. And they still, and then you're setting them up for failure if you don't
Indeed.
accept it.
Yes.
to me.
Exactly.
Right?
Because you need to give your child the help they need at a young age.
Exactly. Let's intervene as early as possible so that they can live a normal life. So Xavier,
Yes.
so your mom, he was 2, right? So your mom intervened early. Tell us what you're doing in your life today. What's going on in your life today? What job you working? What you doing on the stock market? All that good stuff.
Yes.
Because I want people to know that I don't care what the difference is.
Right.
You still have the ability to excel, to succeed, right?
Yeah.
And to be an independent young man.
That's right.
Tell our viewers what you're doing with yourself today. What do you do?
I work at this grocery store.
Okay.
For 3 years now. The one called Kroger.
Okay.
Do I like it? Yeah, sure. I mean, it's going pretty well. I do like the people there. Everybody likes me.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You graduated high school too, right?
Back in 2018, yes.
2018. Did you go to the prom like everybody else?
I sure did.
He sure did. I saw the
There you
pictures.
go.
I said, look at my boy.
It's fun.
Yeah.
Yes. You seem
And
like a
that
very fun
was,
person.
that was abnormal for him.
Okay.
He was like,
Because the social interaction is a symptom, right? The withdrawal from social interaction is a symptom, right? So for him, because at first when Xavier came and got his haircut, you going to prom? No. And then I found out he was going. I was like, oh shit.
Get it, X. Let me ask both of the
And he had
parents
a great
something.
time.
When your moms first noticed something different with your children, when dealing with taking it on accepting that, it's not accepting that. What changes do you think that you had to make with yourself in order to
Navigate them.
navigate
Yeah.
your children on the spectrum? Was there any changes that you had to make, do you think?
No, because like I said, I wanted to help my child,
Okay.
and I wanted him to go as far as he could go, regardless of what they say.
Right.
Because once he was finally diagnosed, and it even took a long time.
Right.
Like I said, I noticed when he was 2, he didn't get diagnosed till he was 7.
Right.
So it should not have taken that long.
No.
And when he was 3, at the pediatrician, I said, he's not talking. And she
Right.
said, oh, he's just a little delayed.
Oh no, just
He's
wait.
just a little
Every
delayed.
kid
My daughter's not
progresses.
talking that much either. He'll be fine in about a year.
Look at me.
At 4, I said,
Ma'am.
Right. Excuse me.
there's no change.
Not on the
There's a
forehead.
little bit of change, but there's not a
Right.
significant change.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
With
so-
Shauna, so and I know that we found out almost like at 18 months with Kelsey.
Yeah.
When we learned this, was there anything that you said that you needed to change with you in order to better?
Definitely.
help?
I had to change my whole lifestyle.
You had to change your whole dreams, didn't you?
Okay. No, not really.
No,
I mean,
dreams. Because, let me
Right.
ask both of y'all a question, for real. Like, real talk. Because, let's say, I'm a parent. I didn't give birth. You know what I'm saying? But I'm a parent. And
Yes,
I've
you
had
are.
him since birth. But if they came and told me, well, he ain't never going to be able to walk, I got to change my dreams for him.
Well, yeah, definitely.
Right in my head. So I don't set myself up for disappointment or set them up for having to live up to something they can't live up to.
Right.
So do you not have to change your? So you have a gender reveal. Ooh, I'm gonna have a boy. Right. First thing in your head is what? What your dreams are for your boy. Like, ooh, I want him to get married, and I want him to have kids, and I want him to be an athlete or whatever the hell, right? But don't you have to adjust your thought process?
Oh yeah, you definitely have to, because it's a lot to handle, especially
Yeah.
when you've never been through it before. Like with Kelsey, I knew something was different, but what the doctors told me is that he was never going to talk. So I knew that I needed
Never.
to, and I knew what I needed to do. I needed to make sure he talked. So I did what me and his dad. His dad is like the best dad in the world.
Hey,
like
Dink,
he's
what's up,
hands
boy?
on
Yes,
with
brother.
everything. I love him so much, and
Yes.
I'm so thankful for him.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what we did when they say he wasn't gonna talk, okay, we're gonna find things to help him learn. Jack Hartman, Gracie Corner, everything. Like we would be in the room singing the ABCs with
Yeah.
him. Kelsey, probably like at 2, he was saying his whole ABCs, counting to 100, counting to 200, counting by
Doctor
10.
don't
And
have
correcting us on colors. Also,
we
what
was
I
gonna make
also
sure.
noticed, and it takes a lot. And when I say change, I didn't mean like you had to change your whole lifestyle, but I also saw that they had to become even more protective
Definitely.
of Kelsey than you would of your other children.
Yes.
We went through him being in different schools and things like that, and it's like okay, but still he's not able to really let us know, communicate what's really going on like your other children will. So did you find yourself that you also had to become more protective with Xavier as well?
I did, but not as much, because he was still able to go to the same school as his older brother.
Okay.
So the teachers already knew me because of his older brother.
Okay.
But I would always tell the teachers they are not the same. Don't treat him like you treated Elijah.
Don't expect from him what you expect
And
from
then
him.
when he was
Yeah.
finally diagnosed, the counselor, like kindergarten, when he went to kindergarten, I said to kindergarten, I said, listen, he's not talking like a 5-year-old should talk. Oh, I'm going to watch him, and he'll be talking by the end of the year.
I do want to say someone just gave you a shout out. Cynthia Sweeting?
Yes.
She said, good job, Angie.
Thank you,
All right. Hey, Cynthia. Hey,
So-
everyone that's out there watching.
I got a question. Because we are dealing with 2 different dispensations, really generations, right? Because your child is what? 6, and Xavier is 24. And you alluded to the fact that it should not have taken that long for him to be diagnosed, when she alluded to the fact that he was diagnosed at 18 months. So I want you, Angie, to talk to us about what that diagnosis process looked like then, and then, because there's so much more awareness and all of that today, what that process looked like for you.
So like I said, when he was 3, I told the doctor he's not talking. Oh, he's just delayed a little bit. Don't worry about it. 4, he still wasn't talking. She says, okay, now I would suggest you take him to whatever school district you live in. They'll test him. Well, I live in Detroit. So getting through the DPS was no phone calls returned, nothing. And so by the time he went to kindergarten, I did let the kindergarten teacher know. She said, oh, all my kids start like this. He'll be talking by the end of the year. He'll be talking your head off.
And we talking about the early 2000s because he's 24 now.
Right.
He's 2024,
Right.
right?
Yeah. This was like 2005.
Okay.
So then the end of the year came. I said, she said, okay, at 6th grade, I need you to go to special education. Let them know. He's in 1st grade. And it took them 6 months. It was like December before they did anything.
Right.
So then when they finally figured it out,
Right.
the counselor called me. He said, hey, Miss Taylor, I got to talk to you. And he's hemming and hawing. Now, like I said, Elijah had been at the school. So I'm like, what's going on? Why aren't you talking? He's like, okay, have you ever thought about having him tested for autism? I said, no, but do I need to?
Right.
He said, I would suggest it. I said, so what was the problem? Why couldn't you, what's the problem? Why you hemming and hawing? And he says, you wouldn't believe how many parents cuss me out when I suggest
When you
that to
suggest it,
them.
because they're so
That's
in
the
denial.
acceptance part, right?
Yeah. It's
Yes.
like, no,
I
not
totally
my
agree with
kid.
you. I totally agree with you.
And I said, I've been asking you guys for over a year. Why would you think I would do that?
And I believe him.
So took him back to the pediatrician. I said, the school said he needs to be tested for autism. She says, I can't diagnose him. I need to refer you to a neurological pediatrician. That took 3 months because there was a 3-month waiting for a new patient.
Right.
So then we finally get to him. And he watches them, does some little testing of it. He says, he does things that autistic children do. He says, but I'm hesitant to label him.
Yay.
He said he has autistic tendencies. I'm really hesitant to label him. He says, I'm not even going to give him an MRI.
Why was he hesitant to label him, though? What was
Because-
his explanation for that?
He just said he does things that they do, but there's other things.
That he's capable of doing
Yes.
that are not typical.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he says, so he is on the high end. He says, we can
And there's a spectrum.
Yes, he
Yes.
says we can work through the tendencies that he has, and the tendencies are the clapping, the tapping, the pacing. Those are the tendencies, and so I had to figure out how when he does that. Okay, how do I? That's anxiety. So how do we get past that anxiety?
Yeah.
They call it stimming.
Yes,
Stimming. That's right.
Explain
Yep,
that.
that's- yep.
Explain that.
It's just stuff that they do. The hand flapping. Kelsey plays with ears. He tips
What
his
does
toes.
that make them? Is that comfort? Is it comfort?
That's what
movements?
we're told.
Okay.
Like, you really don't know because I can't be like, Kelsey, why are you doing it? And he
Yeah.
gonna be like,
He does
It
ear
make me
run to
feel-
the ear.
yeah.
And let me ask you both because I know that we were talking about tendencies, but like when Mac first titled this, I love that she said a different ability. So not tendencies, but I want to say in me working over the years, over 20 something years with children on a spectrum, I found it to be abilities. And so here's some of the abilities I want to ask you both. Do you agree and have you noticed this within your children? So the abilities I notice with people on the spectrum is, for one, they retain information better than we can. They're like sponges, okay?
Definitely.
Sound waves. I noticed in a lot that I deal with, they're in tune to different waves, okay? They can hear things on another wave pattern that we cannot. The strength. They have a certain strength that we don't let them grab you. I seen one walk through a wall 3 times, okay?
Listen, let me tell you. Hold on, let me interject. Let me say something. Because one day, I'm Xavier's barber. One day they came in. This was long time ago. He said they're like a G now, but this was a long time ago. So this will dispute the strength part.
Yes.
Cause he was cutting up so scandalous one day, man. Mamas have Superman strength.
Yes.
That's all I'ma say. I ain't gonna go into everything because I don't want the people at her daughter mind. You know what I'm saying? But she got that shit together so fast.
And then another one, they are organized. And let me tell you why. They can walk into this room right now, and I know that he already saw how everything is set, and he's already organized. Let me tell you all why. If you haven't researched or you're trying to learn more yourself, it's also because of their chromosomes. While we have the ladder, they are preset, all right? So they are very more organized than we are. I can simply move this around like this and move this here like this, and they can come into a room. They have already scanned everything and come put everything back originally the way it was when we first started. And I love that. Also, I saw the older gentleman, and he's African-American, and I forgot his name, but he's on the spectrum as well. They flew him over Rome. All of maybe, I don't even think it was a half an hour. Took him back to an art gallery. Around all the walls, he sketched the whole Rome from being up in the helicopter. They said he maybe was off maybe a window or so. Out of everything around, they flew him above. He was able to retain it, soak it in, and go back and sketch the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
That is an ability. They are brilliant.
What was your process of diagnosis?
Well, it was a bit more easier because I was more aggressive. I didn't let the doctor tell me no. Like, he tried.
So tell us the process. What did he try to tell you?
So me and his dad took him, and we were like, "It's something wrong. He's different from the other kids, and we want to see what's going on." So at first he was like, "Oh no, he's too young. He'll grow out of it." I'm like, "No, I know it's something wrong." So he ended up giving us a referral.
Okay.
And we took him to get tested, and it came back he was autistic. And I'm like, okay, so.
Do you see the difference in how easy it was? And I'm going to say easy because it probably wasn't easy to even address, except go and try to convince these other people that something is different. So I'm not using the word easy lightly. But do you see how with the times changing, right, and awareness and information that's being put out, how at 18 months her son was able to get the diagnosis, but she had to go through how many years?
Like 7.
7 years before she was able to get diagnosed. Shanda, can you play that clip about from Dr. Shanda about the disparity of diagnosis?
Talk about autism spectrum disorder in Black children for a bit. And I know I'm going to ruffle some feathers, but if y'all been following me for any length of time, y'all know I don't care. So let's get into it. So we have child A and child B. Both children have the same symptoms. Child A, however, is more likely to be diagnosed with a conduct-related disorder or something behaviorally related, while child B is more likely to be accurately diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. I think y'all know where I'm going with this. Autism spectrum disorder impacts children of all ages and races. Black and Latino children are less likely to be accurately diagnosed, and when they are diagnosed, it's usually later in life. What we know about ASD, the earlier the treatment, the better the intervention. A study from the University of Pennsylvania found that Black children are more likely to be diagnosed with a conduct disorder before accurately being diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. In fact, further research talks about how Black parents had to show up to the doctor's office 3 times more often than their white counterparts in order for their child to have an accurate diagnosis. And I know this is a whole nother video, but children are more likely to be institutionalized when they don't have the proper diagnosis. I'm Dr. Shanda, the culture psychologist. Follow for more.
Wow, you know what that made me think about?
I found that, right? Who said that?
Wow, you know what that made me think about?
Yeah.
Back in the day, and also saying how it took so long for them to even work with Xavier and find out, right? When they should have right off rip. I agree with her. That makes me think about back in the day. Remember our children were diagnosed real fast. Either ADD, ADHD, they needed
ODD, obsessive,
they needed Prozac and everything else, whatever. When it actually could have been that they were on the spectrum and they were so quick, since far as a Black kid coming in, whatever. Oh no, he just not listening.
It's a behavioral
disorder. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
What do the mothers? What do you agree with her assessment?
I do.
Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
You do.
I do.
Even though it was not hard for your child to be diagnosed, you agree that there's a difference in how they view.
Yeah, it's different because it's like autism. Like a lot of more people know about autism now. Like back then, they didn't know.
Yeah.
You see a kid, even me. Like I say it all the time. Before I had an autistic child, if I seen a kid on the grocery store floor flipping out and stuff, I just be like, man, that kid bad.
Right.
But now that's my kid flipping out on the grocery.
Right.
I'm
Now
like,
you gotta
dang.
consider
So,
the other options, right?
yeah, and a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people seem to think that if a child is autistic, that they're the R word or something like
Right.
that. I seen a post where they said, why is there so many autistic children nowadays? But
Yeah.
he said the post wrong, and a lot of people started commenting on it like, basically he was slow because of the way he was talking. I had to get on there like, just because a child is autistic don't mean they slow. Like my child is smarter than half
my
these people
God.
kids out here.
Right, exactly.
And people try to use that against you too. Like you get into an argument with somebody like with your slow kid and all this, and I'm just thinking like, my kid is smarter than your kid.
For real.
See,
For real.
when we start using
For real.
different and slow as synonyms, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can you play those two clips of the two little boys that have exceptional math abilities at
Oh my
their
God.
age?
Yes. Chelsea do too.
4 plus 6. Let's do 7 plus 7. Let's do 10 times 7. Let's do 8 times 2. All right, what are all those? Look at you, so excited. 6. He's not even in school. Like, this is not even kindergarten. Pre-K. What? Pre-K. Yeah!
What is 12 times 16?
192.
What is 11 times 15?
165.
What's 15 times 18?
240.
17 times 20.
340.
Nice job.
And that's
And
exactly.
Zabe, because you just recently told me a story, and I want you to tell these people that story about how he was in school and he was, according to whatever they were giving him, he wasn't excelling, but the boy knew his shit.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
That's right.
So I want you to tell that story to these viewers.
Okay, the first one was, I think he was in 5th grade, and that's when they start learning double-digit multiplication. Well, when he got to 5th, when his brother was in 5th grade, he learned the normal way, is what I'm gonna say. But when he got to 5th grade, he's sitting at the table, and I see all these boxes, and I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, well, this is how he taught me how to do it. And I was like, okay. But he couldn't figure it out. And then he got
There's
upset
new math.
and started, I said, okay, take a break. So I'm trying to figure it out. I couldn't figure it out. I'm like, okay, no, we're not doing this. I threw the paper away. I said, and I taught him how to do double-digit multiplication like we learned how to do it.
Right.
And I took him to school the next day, and I said, listen, we couldn't figure that out. I said, I taught him how me and you learned how to do it.
Yeah.
And he looked at me. He's like, okay, as long as he got the right answer. I said, check his work. So that was in 5th grade. Well, by 7th grade, it's whatever the math is, X and times 3 and all that kind of stuff, and you end with double-digit multiplication. So we did that, and so I said, okay, what's 15 times 12? And so I can see him processing.
Yeah.
So I said, okay,
That's right.
I'll let him process. I'll give him a few minutes to process.
That's right.
So after a while, he hadn't said it, and I said, I could tell he was done. I said, did you forget 15 times 12? I'm thinking he's going to get a calculator and do 15 times 12. He was like, brr, and I was like,
That's right.
so I said, that's a fluke. He did the rest of the problems. I'm calling his older brother. I'm like, come here. What's 15 times 12? He was like, Mom, get a calculator. I'm like, he knows what it is.
That's right. He does.
And I even asked him, I said, how did you do that? Because they don't teach that in school, and he was doing, they was doing boxes.
doing it in his head.
He's doing it from the head.
Man.
Listen, one day we were going out to eat, right? That's what I'm saying. They brilliant.
Yes.
My thing is they are brilliant.
They are.
We
They
were going
are.
out to eat one day. And you know the regular little cat construction machines you'll see?
Yeah.
You would say construction truck or something like that. We normally would, right? We ran. He said excavator. We all like, what? And he was like, right there, excavator. I said, listen, I know some guys around me that don't know that it's listen, okay? And they are. That's why I always say, my baby is brilliant. Xavier, you're brilliant. They are. They have a certain what I want to say, sense also that we don't have. They're in tune to things that we would never be in tune like they are.
Xavier, you still trading stocks, bro?
See there?
I have not been able to trade in a long time. I
In
gotta
a,
get
in
back
a while,
on that.
you gotta get back on. But he was doing that shit, wasn't he?
See?
He was doing a little
Let me know when you get back in there.
Okay.
I'm gonna follow you.
I'm gonna,
Right.
I'm gonna give you my
Teach us.
portfolio.
Yes.
But I want to say this. We all are different.
That's right.
In our
We
own
are.
unique ways. I am nothing like Tat. Tat is nothing like me. I am nothing like Shauna. She's nothing like me. I am nothing like Angie. She's nothing like me. I am nothing like Xavier. He's nothing like me.
That's
but
right.
guess what?
Right.
We're all unique
That's right.
Yes.
in our own individual ways, right?
Yes.
That's right.
And that doesn't take anything away from the next person or the next person. It doesn't add anything more to the next person. We're all different. God created us the way He wanted to create us.
And guess
Right?
what?
And we have to embrace our individuality.
That's right.
Right.
And we have to respect
Thank you.
Respect
you.
our individuality. Xavier, when we were in pregame, Xavier was like, people just have to understand.
Yeah.
I want you to tell the people what they need to understand,
He's so
my
cute.
boy.
Yes.
What do they need to understand? Help the people understand you.
We're not all the same.
You exactly.
That's right.
That's what they need.
We're not all the same. And that doesn't make us better
At all.
or worse, right?
No.
It doesn't make us higher
Right.
or lower, right?
No.
It just makes us different.
That's right.
And if there was not differences on Earth, we may as well just be walking around like a bunch of motherfucking robots, right?
That's right. Another thing, since they want to say, and shame on you, because I saw another video, and me and my baby daddy, her husband, was watching it. We both were upset. It was a man. He had a child that was autistic, and he was standing there. He pretty much was walking out on her, and he was like, "Look at him. He can't do what normal kids can do, and everything else, whatever." And it broke my heart. And we both, me and her husband, we was on there, and he was like, I said, "Me too." I said, "If I can get on first, and we just break them apart." But here's my thing: since people they want to say slow and things like that, which they are smarter than y'all. Here's a few people that we would consider celebrities that are on the spectrum. And these are brilliant people. Dan Aykroyd, Jerry Seinfeld, Bobby Fischer, Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Courtney Love, Isaac Newton. That's just a few. All right? I'm going to leave it right there.
So before we tap out, we like to go around the table and give final thoughts. We want Angie, Xavier, Shauna to start off. Tat and I will end it off.
Yeah.
Xavier, what would you like people to know? What would your final thought be to the audience that's listening? Just to give them a better understanding and a better appreciation
There you go.
for people who are on the spectrum.
Just try to understand each other, like just like us, we do.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the rest of the family, my brother, my sister, our grandmothers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen. What would you
That's
like to? What would your final thought, Angie, be to the audience? What would you like to leave them with in terms of understanding, respect, or whatever you want to leave them with?
My thought has always been, children did not ask to be here. They did not ask to be here. So when they arrive, you need to do everything you can to make them as successful as they can be.
That's right.
You, like I said, you pay attention to your child, you watch your child, stop throwing them in front of the TV, because you can't learn what they can do sitting in front of a television.
Say that.
That's right.
Say that.
So, and if you do have a child with a different ability,
Right.
learn their strengths, learn their challenges, so that you can adjust to help them with those challenges and enhance those strengths.
Say that. Amen. Can we get a hand clap?
Okay. Shauna.
Shauna, what's your final thought to our audience as a parent of autistic or a child on the spectrum?
As a parent, I just say get to know your child. And for people that may think that their child is autistic, I would tell them to get their child tested. Like, don't wait too late because, like they said, the longer you wait, the more difficult it's going to be for your child.
And don't be in denial. Right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's nothing wrong with having a child that's autistic. Like, Kelsey, he changed me for the good.
Say that.
He did. He did.
I love my baby. I'm so thankful. I wouldn't
did.
change him for nothing in the
He
world.
did.
I love my baby.
He did.
So God makes no mistakes.
That's
At
right.
all.
And he
Exactly.
gives you what he thinks you can handle.
That's right.
He's not going to give an autistic child to a parent that can't.
Handle it. Woo,
right.
baby.
Does not have the ability to figure out how to facilitate that.
That's right.
Yes.
Tat, what's your final thought, my baby?
Again, I want to applaud both you, Angie and Shauna. And when Shauna just said that it changed her, I also want to give a shout out to my baby daddy / brother Dink out there, because you are awesome. Because I also
Hey,
saw that
Dink.
my godson also changed his father's life, and he is an awesome father of a child on the spectrum. And I commend them for how they are. I commend you because I see it's the same works. My thing is, like they said, get to know your child. And for y'all that's sitting out there being lazy because y'all think your child have a disability, and y'all just want to collect a check and not really engage that child, shame on you. All right? Shame on you. I'm going to leave it right there.
My final thought is, it's not a disability. It's a different ability. And we out this motherfucker.
Peace.
Hey, good show, everybody.